So hello everyone, welcome back to Oliveboard's Agri Coaching. And today we are starting a very important chapter for all of you, and this particular chapter is favorite as well as important for all the agricultural exams. And the chapter which we are talking about, it is a sub branch under agriculture, and it's one of the main branches, okay, and that is agronomy. Yes, you are right, we are going to start with our chapter agronomy. So today we will just basically see a brief related to what agronomy is all about, and let's try to understand it. Okay, so overall, if I am here to discuss with you what are the content list which we are going to discuss today, let me give a brief to you. First, we are going to discuss the meaning and scope of agriculture, then the development of agriculture in overall India, some static as well as data related information related to Agricultural Research Institute, the history of agriculture in the country. Then we are going to see the main branch, that is agronomy, under the agriculture. Okay, we will also discuss about the other branches, main 5 branches of the agriculture also. That also I will be telling you. And more importantly, we will discuss about what agronomy is all about, what is its definition, what is history, its relation with other sciences. Then we will be talking about classification of the crops. Now here comes the important part. We are going to cover all the classification of the crops in one of the lectures. Then we will be talking about agronomical principles, tillage, then about soil, that is about edaphology, then related to fertilizers and manures. We will then jump into cropping system, farming systems, cropping patterns, etc. So let's begin with our particular first part of our agronomy. This is particularly in English, as you all could see. Okay, so let's start our discussion basically with the definition of agriculture. Without wasting our time, let us first understand what agriculture means. We all would be knowing. What do you mean by agriculture? So agriculture, when we talk about it, is not just an occupation. So most of the people feel that agriculture is just an occupation, but I differ. So agriculture is not just an occupation, but rather it is one of the cultures in the sense what? It is an occupational activity which is not just restricted to just economy, but it is also related with society, it's also related to economy, it's also related to polity, it's also related to other streams such as science, technology, all these things. And therefore, if you see primary, secondary and tertiary sectors, industries are there, manufacturing is there, service sector is there. None of the sector is ever called as culture. Only agriculture is called as culture. Why this word culture comes? It also depends on the history of this particular occupational activity, or maybe history of agriculture itself. We all know since ancient time we did cropping. Okay, we did cropping. So cropping was done since ancient times. Okay, since ancient times we are doing cropping on our field. Okay, we are doing cropping on our field. Then people also got a habit, along with this particular agriculture, they started domesticating animals. Then along with that, they started to settle beside such agricultural land. The settlement led to formation of villages, or maybe settled towns, villages, okay, hamlets. This led to formation of again one of the societies which was dependent on this particular occupational activity. Excessive production of grains, excessive production of agricultural products resulted in trade. Increase in trade inside and outside of that particular settlement led to economic development or economic growth. The overall development of socio-economic growth then led to political development. And wherever a political development is there, we all would be know, it lays the foundation for civilization and culture. So always remember, for any of our kingdoms, for any of our history, overall, if you see for mankind, it may be ancient, medieval and even modern, the seeds of that particular history, the foundation, the base from which that particular history starts, it's always from agriculture. Take the example of industrial revolution which started in UK or Britain. What was the first thing which started the pavement of this particular industrial revolution? I am talking about first industrial revolution. What was the crop which started it? It was cotton crop. If cotton crop was not there, this first industrial revolution wouldn't have took place. Okay, take example of any empire. You take example of you take example of Indus Valley civilization, the oldest civilization in the world. This Indus Valley civilization we could understand. Okay, initially only you could see that the evidences of grains of barley, wheat, okay, have been seen in that particular IVC different sites in North India as well as Pakistan. So now you do understand that why agriculture is important, why I gave you this particular preset, so that you understand agriculture is not just a economic activity, it's not an occupation to do. Okay, if you're just looking it from an occupation, then we are looking it from a very narrow vision. Okay, agriculture is derived from two Latin words, okay, ager or agri. So this particular agri, why it is said? Now, particular agriculture is more about cultivation of crops, but here nowhere crops has been mentioned. Agar or agri means soil, and cultura or cultus means cultivation. So here the point is that in agriculture it includes all the crops, all the plants, and more importantly any vegetative growth. So you are growing any vegetative growth, okay, so you are trying to cultivate that in soil. If any such activity you are doing, then that would be called as agriculture. Maybe you are doing gardening, that's agriculture. Maybe you are doing rice cropping, that's agriculture. Maybe you have planted 10 coconut trees in your backyard, that's agriculture. Maybe you have planted maybe 100 or 200 crops extended in 50 hectares of land, that's agriculture. Maybe you have planted a small 4 to 6, 8 flowering plants in your terrace or in your balcony, that is also agriculture. These may be branches, these may be different types in which agriculture has been taken place, but necessarily it comes under agriculture. It is an applied science. What do you mean by applied science? It means that agriculture, whatever is there, cultivation of crops, sowing, whatever processes come in agriculture, it is an applied science. That means basic science combinedly are applied, which encompasses aspects of crop production. Aspects in the sense all the things which are related to your crop, okay, crop production, aspects of crop production including horticulture, livestock, fisheries and forestry. So therefore here I will bring you the classification of agriculture. When I tell you what is the classification of agriculture, our first classification is agronomy. Okay, our second classification, when anybody talks about it, it's horticulture. Okay, it is horticulture. The third classification, when we talk about, it's livestock. Okay, and within this livestock, animal husbandry or any other type of silviculture, all these things come. Okay, then after livestock, forestry. Okay, so in this, and then also fisheries, etc. But these are the main 4 to 5 branches of agriculture, and you should be knowing these very, very clearly. So here our chapter is all about the first branch, agronomy. Once we cover it, we are also having chapter for horticulture, we are also having a chapter for livestock, and we are also having a chapter for forestry as well as for fisheries. So everything we are covering. Okay, so this is what agriculture is all about, where you are mainly studying aspects of crop production, but along with the crop production you also include different other sub branches under agriculture. Now agriculture is defined as art, science and business of producing crops and livestock for economic purposes. So understand very, very carefully, any agricultural crop, any vegetation, any plant, if you are growing, of course you grow it so that whatever produce will come, whatever output will come, that you will be selling it into the market, or maybe that you are growing for a specific economic purpose. In any society or in an economy, when a particular agriculture is done, it is nothing but cultivation of the crop for economic purposes. And when we are talking about growing the crops for economic purpose, that most importantly has that we are growing those crops, that is total quantity of production, quality of production, and then we try to sell that particular crop either directly, indirectly, either as a raw material, either as a component of finalized product. Okay, Now, when you are doing this particular cultivation for economic purpose, agriculture is seen as an art. Now, why agriculture is seen as art? Because agriculture is not a random activity to follow. Okay, agriculture requires skill. Okay, should I give you a good example? Should I give you a good example? I'll give you a good example. Consider Maharashtra, state of Maharashtra. We all know that massive suicides occur in the farmers who are in the region of Marathwada and Vidarbha. We all know. Now, the reasons may be different. Let me put out a generic reasons to you. Okay. The first reasons, of course, include the destruction of crops because of variable climate, because of the failure of monsoon, because of the variability of monsoon and uneven rainfall distribution. The second are disasters as well as hazards which occur in the crop. The third is market related factors, that is, of course, imbalance in demand and supply. That is, it may include lower MRP. It may be including dependence on the companies as well as sell bumper crop but super crop. That means you are producing higher crops but that crop is not getting enough prices. Okay, there may be even other reasons also. For example, higher cost inputs. There may be other examples also. For example, debt crisis. That means debt trap. Farmers are taking loans to pay their loans. So for example, initially I am a farmer, I took some loan just as to increase my inputs for fertilizer, for irrigation. Then I got my output from the field, that is cotton, or in the Marathwada and Vidarbha region. I sold that whatever produce was there, but whatever return money, profit which I got, that whatever profit was there, that was so less that I couldn't repay my debt. So now already I am having debt, but for next cropping cycle I again need capital. So that's why I took again debt to get out of that debt. So this cycle keeps on going on. It continues, resulting into a vicious debt cycle or debt trap. That means you are trapped in debt. No matter you take how much debts, you will keep on going on from one debt to other, one debt to other. And that is why farm loan waiver is also there. These are all the problems associated with Marathwada, Vidarbha. What is the rate of this farmer suicide? Anybody knows? Can anybody tell? Let me tell you. It's actually, if you see the rate of the suicides, it is 13 to 14 seconds. So in 13 to 14 seconds, NCRB report says that one farmer from Marathwada and Vidarbha region commits a suicide because in 13 to 14 seconds. Okay. Now consider this, that Marathwada and Vidarbha region, now let us travel almost 600 kilometers from Marathwada and Vidarbha region to Ahmednagar or Sambhajinagar. Okay, it's the same one of the districts in Maharashtra. It is very close to Pune. It has one particular village which is called as Hivre Bazar. Hivre Bazar. Hivre Bazar. Understand one thing very, very carefully. Whatever this Hivre Bazar I am talking about, here this village is known as the village of millionaires. What do you mean by millionaires? Karodpatiyon ka gaon. Okay, so this village has been given a term Karodpatiyon ka gaon. Why? Who are people who are living in this Hivre Bazar? Are those businessmen? Are those diamond tycoons? No, these are small farmers. These are small farmers. So how come a farmer is earning in crores in Hivre Bazar, and why come he just 600 to 400 kilometers far away in Marathwada and Vidarbha region? Why those farmers, of course, are suffering? So here you understand, apart from climatic factors, apart from various other factors, if you consider, agriculture is a skill. Agriculture is not a random activity to follow. Look at the farmer situations in Marathwada and Vidarbha region. They have become dependent on the system of cotton cropping. But when you see Hivre Bazar, it's one of the beautiful case studies for horticultural cropping. This is how agriculture is a skill, agriculture is not a random activity, and that is why it is an art. Then, how it is a science? Agriculture involves different steps. It starts from preparation of land to harvesting, then post-harvesting technology, then addition, that is value addition in the raw materials, etc., etc. As it is a multidimensional subject which involves technology, which involves modern practices, modern methodologies, therefore it has different sciences which are associated with it. It may be biology, it may be chemistry, it may be biochemistry, it may be physics, it may be even other technological aspects like engineering, mechanization, etc. That's why agriculture is a science. How come agriculture is a business? We all know agricultural produce is sold into the market, and anything you sell, it is a commercial activity. It is a commerce. So therefore agriculture is a business also. So now you will understand agriculture, that is soil cultivation, this is the two types, and these are the all things which we have discussed. Now let us discuss the scope and importance of agriculture, and you all would be knowing the scope, importance. Okay. Just a minute, guys. Yeah. So let's talk about scope and importance of agriculture. Now many of the students, we have already discussed it a lot of the times, but still we will try to discuss something. 18% contribution to gross domestic product. So this we have to remember, GDP contribution of agriculture is 18%. Okay. And it provides livelihood support to about 2/3 of country's population. That means what? Major of the rural and urban areas, if you see, 2/3 of population is still dependent for their employment, for their earnings, for their livelihood from agriculture. Then the sector provides employment, how much? 58% of country's workforce in single private sector occupation. So what do you mean? Look at it, 58 means almost close to 60%. 60% of our employment is still dependent on our agricultural activity. Then agriculture accounts almost 15% of total export earnings and provides raw material to large number of industries. So always remember, for any of your industrial, for any of your manufacturing and services, almost your 15% of total exports, whatever earnings are there, those are totally directly dependent on the raw materials which come from agriculture. Very, very significant. Second thing, rural areas are biggest markets for low priced and middle priced consumer goods, including consumer durables, and rural domestic savings are important source for resource mobilization, which again gives your source to agriculture. So agriculture here also is very, very important, considering India's population, for maintaining food security and also in the process of national security as well. You have to understand, for a country where such a huge population is dependent on agriculture and where the sector is also directly contributing to GDP, from economical angle, from societal angle, where one time Gandhiji also had said that major of, if you want to see real India, where is the real India in the country? It's in the rural areas. And if the survival of rural areas is dependent on agriculture, then how important is our agriculture? So that's how we have to understand agriculture. Allied sector and their contribution, if you see, then overall these particular overall agricultural sectors are important for economic growth, health, nutrition, as well as for rural and urban development. I hope you got the enough idea of the scope, particularly in the agriculture. Okay. Now agriculture is also very, very important for our ecological balance and also sustainable and balanced development of other sectors associated with it. Okay. So overall this was the scope and improvement, if you importance of our agriculture. Now let us talk about agricultural development in India. Now I know all these numerous things have been mentioned here, but I will give you a brief to understand. Okay. First thing is that agriculture is a key sector in India's economy. Okay. If you see, agriculture provides living for 58% of its residents. Don't read everything, just whatever I am telling, just concentrate on that. Okay. The indication of importance of agriculture, if you see, 50% of the land is designated for crop cultivation in India, where global percentage is only 12%. What does it mean by that? It means that in India, with such a huge population, less amount of land, out of which 57% is for cultivation. Understand the gravity of agriculture here. Okay. Then if you see land to human ratio, if you see, it's 0.31 hectare, which is less than half of the world average. What do you mean by that? So it means that less amount of land is available for humans. So it shows that the overall land to human ratio, okay. So here you have to understand that whatever our land is there, that land has been fragmented. Fragmentation of land. Fragmentation means what? What do you mean by fragmentation? Imagine this. This is your grandfather, this is your father, and these are you, son. Your grandfather had 20 hectares of land. Your grandfather had two brothers. So this 20 hectares got divided between your father got 10 hectares, and your father's brother, that is your uncle, got 10 hectares. So see here, 20 hectare land has got distributed between your father and between your uncle as 10 hectares. Now suppose you are there, one son of your father, and you are also having your brother, elder brother. So this 10 hectares will again be divided into 5 hectares and 5 hectares between you and your brother. So look at this particular case. What does it mean? Your grandfather had 20 hectares. Now your father has 10, and now you are having 5. So fragmentation of land is nothing but per human or per individual, whatever land is there, that particular land quantity goes on decreasing throughout your generations. So according to the lineage, from one generation to the next generation, successively, fragmentation is nothing but decrease in the distribution or decrease in the overall number of lands which you are holding. So this is called as fragmentation of land holdings. So one, you have to understand that in India we are employed in agricultural activity. Agriculture is one of the significant contributors to our economy. Land is also majorly 60% close. Land has been given to the agricultural sector, but in context of humans, if you see, and their relation with land, we are just having 0.31 hectares of land per person. Okay. One more thing, in context of history of India, the agriculture which has been started in India is not a recent phenomena. 11,000 years ago, India, the agriculture story has begun. Okay, 166 crop species and 320 wild varieties have originated in Indian subcontinent. So therefore here you have to understand that India, one of the agrarian countries, also shows diversification of crops and diversification of overall whatever varieties which are grown on our land. So here, along with the crops, India also shows world's largest diversity of livestock also. So these are all the important aspects from the history or agricultural development in India. Then comes agricultural research in India. If I try to tell you about agricultural research, ICAR. What is ICAR? It's one of the apex institutions of research for agriculture. Indian Council of Agricultural Research. It was established, when it was established in 1929. Okay. Then the other important thing is, recently only, Department of Agriculture and Research Education, there a department was established under our Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. Okay. Other than that, if I try to tell you, Krishi Vigyan Kendras also, when they were established, 1974. Royal Commission on Agriculture, okay, it was also established. Okay. Then National Agricultural Research and Education System, NARES, it was established. So overall, if you see, the development of agriculture and its research, it starts with various institutions like CSIR, ICAR, the important state agricultural universities. Okay. For example, GB Pant University, the first agricultural university in India, and different other organizations, okay, and universities together, which form the basis of the agricultural research in the country. Okay, I hope that we are clear here. Then we talk about the landmark achievements in Indian agriculture. Now, what are landmark achievements? Let's try to understand. So, our first landmark achievement, if you see, in 1950-51, we produced almost 135 MT of crop production, and today, after how much years? 70-75 years, we can see that we are having 1,300 metric ton of overproduction, million tons of production. So in this way of total food and non-food crops, how much million tons of production? 1,300 in total production we are doing. Other than that, if you see landmark achievements in context of the revolutions, green revolution which is associated with the crop production, white revolution which is related to milk, blue revolution related to fish, yellow revolution related to oil, golden revolution related to horticulture and honey, silver revolution related to egg, brown revolution related to coffee, grey revolution related to wool, as well as fertilizers, red revolution related to meat, red revolution related to onions. So in this way, different revolutions are there. Violet revolution, a very recent revolution related to what? Can anybody tell? Come on. Violet revolution related to lavender, white revolution related to cotton. So in this way, different revolutions are there. These also you have to remember. What are the other things which we have to still remember? Yes. Who is the father of green revolution in India? MS Swaminathan. Okay. So in this way, you also have to, who is the father of Operation Flood or white revolution, milk revolution in the country? Varghese Kurian. So in this way, you have to remember every revolution's personalities which are associated also. Okay. Now let us take you towards milestone in the Indian agriculture. Milestone in the sense what? Year, and what are the different milestones which have taken place. Now one more thing I will tell you very clearly. Try to understand that I cannot read out for you all these important milestones which have taken place in the world. But let us discuss which are the important. What I am trying to tell is that for you guys, I cannot read this everything. If I read this everything, of course, the class would be boring and I don't want that. So don't worry, you can join our classes, you will get all this information. This is just to show you that we cover everything. Okay. 1947, Grow More Food Campaign. Why this was done? Look at the year, 1947. It is very close to the famines which occurred in 1943 in Bengal. So because of that, Grow More Food Campaign was started so as to produce surplus of crop production. Then comes first University Education Commission, which looked into higher education in the country, and here they first time mention about agricultural establishment of universities. First multi-purpose project, Damodar Valley Corporation, 1948. You have to remember the years, very important. Extension, agricultural extension education, two important projects, Itawa Pilot and Nilo Kheri, 1948 only. Okay. Then 1949, a species, wonder cane of India, Co 740 was developed. Okay. Other than that, then one of the most important year would be 1952, Community Development Program for Agricultural Extension was initiated. Okay. Then if you see, yes, National Extension Services inaugurated in 1953. Okay. Then National Render Paste, yes, world's first all rust resistant cultivar of wheat, NP809, released in 1954. So here these are some of the important aspects, important milestones which happened from 1947 to 1954. Let us move from 1955 to 1962. What is so important? Bhavani Sagar Dam in Tamil Nadu constructed in 1955. Okay. Then if you see, All India Coordinated Research Project on Maize, 1957. First Marine Fisheries Census, 1957. Okay. Then if you see, yes, 1958, accorded status of deemed university was given to IARI, Agricultural Research Institute, Indian. Okay. Then National Agricultural Cooperative Marketing Federation, when NAFED, when It's not NAFED, sorry, CMF, okay, when it was established 1958. First agricultural university at Pantnagar. Which is this university at Uttarakhand? GB Pant University. Okay. Then release of double cross maize hybrids when it was 1961. Okay. So these are all of the important events which have occurred in each of these years. Now one more thing is there, you will be saying that, sir, how to remember all these things? See, whenever factual thing comes, first thing is that you read them once. So this first would be your just nascent reading. What do you mean by nascent reading? Nascent reading is nothing but you just read it as if you are reading a comic, as if you are reading a story. Okay, this is your first read. Our second read should be extensive reading. What do you mean by extensive reading? It means that you read every corner, every word, every detail. So it's a detailed reading. And our third read is nothing but a revision reading. Our revision reading. In this way, this is the all things which we all, of course, this is the way how we can read. Okay, I hope that you are getting idea. Then 1964 to 1970. What are the things important? Let us try to understand. Yes, national demonstration, ND. This was one of the projects of India for agricultural extension. CAIIB, Commission for Agricultural Cost and Prices and Food Corporation of India, established in 1965. Okay. Minimum support price system started in 1966. Very important. High yielding variety programs. Why? 1966, 1967, Green Revolution starts and it extends till 2003. Green Revolution program was started with this particular high yielding variety program. Okay. Then our next thing is, yes, first masonry dam in India, Nagarjuna Sagar Dam. Then 14 major commercial private banks nationalized. When were the national, ye jo 14 commercial banks were there, when were they nationalized? 1969. See, I remember it because some things I have read. So in this way you can also remember all of these things. Then 1971 to 1979, very, very important, this particular phase. Okay, let me bring it to you. Creation of Department of Agricultural Research and Education there under Ministry of Agriculture, 1973. Opening of first Krishi Vigyan Kendra at Pondicherry, 1974. Training and visit systems under Agri Extension, 1974. Establishment of Agricultural Research Services, 1975. Then establishment of Agricultural Scientist Recruitment Board, again 1975. Then Lab to Land project, Lab to Land project. When was it started? Lab to Land project. See, main चीजें आपको तो फट से you have to remember those. Okay, so main whatever things are there you have to remember. For example, Lab to Land project, 1979. Quickly I am knowing it. Establishment of NABARD, 1982. Quickly I am knowing this. In this way you should be knowing the important things which have occurred. Then 1981, here you could see. Yes, 1982. NABARD established. Okay. 1984 is important. National Horticultural Board established. Okay. Then if you see which are the other important, yes, National Academy for Agricultural Science, 1990 they were established. Okay. Institutional Village Linkage Program, 1995. Okay. So in this way, Fertilizer Control Order was also issued in 1985. So these are all the important events or milestones which took place till 1995. 1996, National Gene Bank at Delhi was established. After that, if you see Kisan Credit Card, when were they introduced? 1998. Very, very important. Then if you see which are the other important, first greenhouse gas emission inventory from Indian agriculture prepared, 2004. Okay. National Agricultural Innovation Project, 2006. National Agricultural Innovation Project, yes, 2005-2006, that's the correct answer. Then Protection of Plant Variety and Farmers Right Act enacted in 2001. So such important things you should be knowing. Then from 2007 to 2015, here if you see some of the important, very important things, NICRA, that is National Innovations on Climate Resilient Agriculture, 2011. Now these points you should have very readily available in your mind. Okay, Mera Gaon Mera Gaurav program 2015. Okay, Soil Lab Initiative 2015. Okay, so in this way these are the things you should remember. 2016 ENAM, PM Kisan Scheme 2018, Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairy was formed when? Recently when? 2019. Sorry guys. So in this way, here you can see that all these particular milestones are there. Those have occurred till 2023. We have given all the important milestones. So then here if you see recent years, what were the recent things? Agricultural Investment Portal, it was set up in 2022. Okay, then the year 2022 year was also important as it launched National Mission for Edible Oils Oil Palm, and year 2023 FAO has recognized this particular year as International Year of Millets 2023. I hope guys we are clear here. After milestone, if you see, now let us talk about agronomy, its importance. Okay, and then classification, whatever is there, we will discuss that in the next session. Okay, so the word agronomy, when I talk about, it is a sub branch of agriculture. It is formed by two words. First is agros and second is nomos. You get the point? Now, it means that to manage the field. What does it mean? To manage the field. Manage to manage the field. What do you mean by to manage the field? That we have to understand agronomy. So let me give a picture to you. Suppose you are a farmer and you are cultivating on a piece of land. Suppose you are a farmer and you are planting crops. Okay, okay, so try to understand it very carefully. Every step which you take throughout your agricultural activity, from preparation of land, okay, then sowing, then irrigation, addition of fertilizers, manures, intercultivation practices, harrowing, hoeing, tillage practices, plowing activities, all these you are doing, right? Then integrated pest management, integrated nutrient management, protection of the crop, looking after their health, then harvesting of the crop, proper pollination, then fertigation, then harvesting of the crop, post harvesting mechanisms, forward backward linkages, selling the crops into the market, commerce related, profit achieved, all these things from sowing of the crop to selling the crop into the market. Every step which you take in your agricultural activity, it will require management. And why management? So that all those activities are carried in appropriate or maybe in most correct manner. There is no any mistake while doing all these activities, because agricultural practices are such that all these activities are interrelated and dependent on each other. That is why agronomy is nothing but it is a particular sub branch of agriculture which is related to crop production and management in the field. Crop production and management. Crop production in the sense what? Any activity, any practice, any methodology which you are doing for crop production. And management means what? Every particular care, every particular strategy, every particular planning and management which you look for that particular crop which you are growing in your field. That is, production is always related to its management. It includes all the different things. It also includes how much quantity of water is applied. It includes how much fertilizer is applied. It includes how much spend is done for the fertilizers for that particular crop. It also includes how much are the total grains cultivated from that particular crop. So in this way, agronomy is associated with crop production and field management. Okay, I hope you get it. What are the keywords to understand in context of agronomy? It is a basic science or sub-branch under agriculture which is nothing but to manage the field, or maybe it is associated with crop production and field management. Okay, I hope that we are clear here. Now let us understand more dimensions about agronomy. Okay, so the first thing is that in agronomy you have to understand the properties of soil and how the soil interacts with the crops. Once you understand this, you will also understand what are the nutrients which are required for the crop, and essentially that you can provide as the base for the crop. We all know there are three essential things which are required to grow a crop. One is soil, second is water, and third is your nutrients. Am I right? So all the things you will be understanding step by step, to understand soil first, then to understand nutrient, and then to assess and to provide water. When and how to apply these nutrients, that is, as agricultural crops are grown in a setup of ecology and in the surroundings of climate, which are, or maybe surroundings affected by climate. So therefore you should be knowing which is the particular month in kharif cropping. If I am planting rice, then what are the months when I should plant it? What is the month when it would be physically matured or maybe flowering? What is the flowering period of that particular crop? What is the harvesting period of that particular crop? So you should be knowing about when and how to apply these nutrients. You should be knowing the ways that crop grow and develop. Okay, so you should be knowing what is the optimum temperature for wheat. You should be knowing that yes, rice grows well in waterlogged conditions, but wheat doesn't grows well in waterlogged condition, it will die. You should know that rice grows in plain and gives a good quantity of production, a good quality of production. But we should also know that, tell me guys, tea crop, chai, tea cannot be grown on the plain lands. Tea should be grown on the terraces. So in this way we understand that every crop is different and the ways how that crop grows, develops is different. How climate and other environment factors affect the crop at all stages. For example, if you see, let's take example of a wheat, who is a climate sensitive crop. If you consider wheat, sowing temperature is of course your relatively low. Its maturity, when it hits its maturity or maybe its growth stage, the temperature whatever is required is higher. That is, optimum temperature is higher. And the harvesting temperature whatever is there, that is again medium or maybe lower than the growth temperature. In this way every stage is different temperature is required. How best to control weeds, insects, fungi and other crops? When you talk about crop cultivation, there are external environmental factors which are hindrances to the growth. It may be weed, that is unwanted plant growth, or it may be unwanted insect, organism, bacteria, fungi, or even your normal insects. We have to prevent their attack on the crop. Agronomy also can be grouped by the type of crop which is grown, and many agronomists specialize in one or more types of crops. Pietro de Crescenzi is the father of agronomy. These are the all things which we have to look into. Apart from this, there are various other factors also which we have to look into. Okay, so as I told you, agronomy includes crop science. So crop science includes growth, climate, everything overall, morphology of the crop, okay, overall the biological processes in the crop, biochemistry processes, hormones in the crop, overall physiology of the crop, etc. After crop science, you have to know about edaphology. What do you mean by edaphology? How soil and crops are integrated together. How soil and crops, they are related with each other. Edaphology is science of soils. You understood crop science, edaphology, then is integrated pest management, then is integrated nutrient management, then is irrigational science or irrigation, Then it's harvesting and post-harvesting management and technology. And then it's forward-backward linkages. All these are dimensions of agronomy. Write it down, whatever I have said. Okay? I hope you are getting an idea. Crop science, edaphology, integrated pest management, integrated nutrient management, irrigation, then comes harvesting, post-harvesting mechanisms, forward and harvesting and post-harvesting processes, forward-backward linkages, and last is your, of course, the business or commerce related to crops. Definition of agronomy, when we are discussing here, 3 definitions have been given. You can pick any one. You can pick any one. Let us go through our first definition. Agricultural science, that is science which is associated with agriculture, which includes principles and practices of crop production and field management. This is the same definition which I gave you. So before reading only I gave you the same definition. Second, it's a branch of agricultural science which deals with principles, practices of soil, water and crop management. So always remember agronomy. What agronomy's definition, what will you remember? I will tell you. Crop production and management. This we know, crop production and crop management. Okay, but how this crop production and crop management would be done? Of course, through your principles. Of course, through your practices. Okay, so principles, practices which lead to crop production and crop management. So this, or field management. So this is your definition of agronomy. Then third definition, branch of agricultural science deals with methods which provide favorable environment to the crop for higher productive or higher productivity. Higher productivity. I hope you are getting. All 3 definitions, if you see, these 3 definitions sound different. That means words are different, but substance is the same. Isme whatever the substance is there in this particular lines, that remains the same. Okay, so this is where we end our lecture, and in the next class we will discuss more about the history of agronomy. Then we will talk about the classification of different field crops. Always remember, agronomy is more associated with field crops. So when you talk about boundaries of agronomy, always remember agronomy, this particular agricultural science, is restricted with field, F-I-E-L-D. In Hindi it is called as khet. So any crop which you are trying to grow in a field, in khet, in that only context agronomy would be interested in. So it is not interested in your garden crops. Agronomy is not about growing horticultural crops. Agronomy is not about your domestication of animals, livestock. Agronomy is not about growing medicinal or maybe flowers. Agronomy is about all crops, particularly field crops, which are grown in a field, in a patch of land dedicated for cultivation. That's it. On this note, we end this class. Thank you, everyone.